Hello, I'm Sacco, and welcome back to another Mechabellum Replay review. Starting off with the opening packs, we have access to the Typhoon Specialist and the Farseer Specialist. Honestly, these are the two that I have my eye on, and Typhoon Specialist is just a little bit better than the Firebender Specialist, so I end up picking that. And Stormcallers in the state of the meta are pretty decent into most packs. I'm up against Kono, who is a known aggro player, so if he happens to pick the Spider pack or the Sabretooth pack, I'm definitely very happy. One of the best packs into the Sabretooth pack. Now, Kono is currently rated at 2.4k MMR. I believe his name in the Chinese part is Team Leader, I believe. He is Quick Supply Specialist, so he's going to have 200 supplies round 1. Now, I know Kono plays a ton of aggro. In fact, I think he only plays aggro, so that's something to keep in mind. So against aggro players, I like to do a center pull, and the maximum, or like the most efficient spacing for the round 1 fangs is 20 meters inside tower and 30 meters up. This way it will, if he puts his crawler on the corner of the line, like the widest crawler possible, it will pull everything to the center. Now, this is the round 1 positioning optimization. If it was round 2, it would be 50 meters up. We'll pull the widest crawler on the line. But of course, round 1, we optimize for that. And the thinking again with the center pull is I'm utilizing all my units compared to having, like, if I were to deploy symmetrically, half my units would be like chasing a fortified tower or be out of the fight. So I like to try to get value out of all my units. Of course, it leaves me vulnerable to, well, the right side, but I can always like fortify and solidify it next turn on round 2, right? So pretty standard positioning on my end. Now, he places, like, he knows I played Kono a bunch. This is a scrim, and he knows I usually like to go for these center pulls, but surprisingly, both my storms don't actually target the initial crawler, so I actually get an insta target lock on his Sabretooth. Now, of course, he is stacking a side, so my arc light will go down pretty fast here, just because I only have one chaff pack in front to protect it. As you can see, it is a bit of a center pull, but I think maybe I should have placed my Stormcallers a little bit farther forward. That way, the Sabretooth would actually look towards this Stormcaller, and then after killing this storm, would be facing the rest of the other storms, therefore not looking at the tower. So bit of a misplay on my end, but it ends up not mattering that much since I got the early lock on his Sabretooth. Alright, the reinforcements are here, and usually I like to prioritize these spells since they are way more valuable than the items for the most part. Now, these items are very good. These are one of the better items, like especially Haste Module for its cost. But in these like defensive aggro game, I prioritize tempo, and I want to do as much HP damage as possible, and also, of course, keep my HP high. So I end up taking the underground threat and trying to pressure his tower that way. And usually against asym pushes, again, I always like to pressure the weak side tower because I want them not to just place all his resources and just stack one side and get away with it. I need him to defend this tower, so the pressure on my right side isn't as strong. Now, the interesting thing about the underground threat is even if he tries to defend this, it's very hard to cover the underground threat along with the Wasp. Now, Kono knows me, we play a lot, so he's already buying his Mustang. He's getting it down on the board here with the laser sight. Now, I don't mind my opponents buying early Mustangs. I think early Mustangs aren't that good. Of course, early Mustangs are good into the Fang chaff on the board here, but I am setting up for an Arclight defense, and I, of course, can spam crawlers with Subterranean, so I'm not too sad about baiting Mustangs, is the thinking here. Now, with the remaining funds, I do another Fang, because I unlock the Wasp, so I unfortunately don't have access to crawlers, so this will do here. So, of course, with the underground threat, I do get the tower, and the debuff allows me to clean up the remaining army. Now, he goes for more of a value play with the laser sight, which is definitely threatening because Mustangs will now outrange my arc lights, but again, I think spells are just way too strong to skip here. So I pretty much like take every single spell. Like there was a point in the game where spells weren't as strong because the econ cards and the items were a lot stronger, but they really just kept nerfing econ cards. Like Efficient Tech Research is such a bait card. Like it's perfect to take round 3 because, well, it's the best time to take it before you get any of your techs, and you'll probably get value out of it. But again, I just don't think it's that interesting in these like tempo heavy games, and I just always skip this card. I can't remember the last time I picked this card unless I'm like playing standard and it's usually a longer game. So what I was saying before is like econ cards used to be like Efficient Tech used to be cheaper, Giant Manufacturing used to be cheaper, Super Supply, but all these cards got nerfs. So now like the meta is just all about spells. It feels like comparing all your alternatives to Underground Threat, to Nuke, to Oil, to Smoke just doesn't even come close here. Now we got a Mustang range investment and a Mustang deployment on the weak side tower, which is what I like to see, and also a late Fang deploy. So just by threatening Jump Drive Wasp, we got him to have a useless deploy over here and also defend his tower as well, meaning he just can't stack all his uses from one side. And I'm just building Arclight Crawler board, so should be a still pretty good turn for me. Now I end up fortifying the tower since, well, against a push, fortification is very strong. It's efficient HP and of course reduces the tower debuff. And since he's stacking a side, it's pretty free to go for the fortification there. Now his Mustangs should do a lot of work since I am insanely outranged. 60-meter disadvantage, but, well, more or less, what can you do? I was prioritizing the deployments, and I mean, honestly, his board isn't too scary here. Early Mustangs aren't that big a deal. You definitely have to respect the Mustangs, but tempo-wise, not something to worry about. He does sell his Sabertooth that was getting insta-targeted by the Stormcaller, which is interesting, so that indicates that he's really just not really going to commit to Sabertooths. So at least I don't have to worry about that. And honestly, I started off with Stormcallers. My Stormcaller's leveled, so I don't really have to worry too much here. And now it is the Typhoon turn, so should be a strong turn for me. Of course, the reinforcements are here, and it's honestly like a straight up Phoenix pick. Like balls, I can maybe do like a Wraith transition with a triple ball pack, but into the Phoenix doesn't seem that smart. Tarantula is a pretty good defensive unit, and it's like one of the best chaff clears in the game with range and HE, but I mean, I'm already committed to Arclight, so it doesn't make sense there. Phantom Rays into Mustangs requires like an armor tech, and into the Phoenix, again, not smart, so it is a Phoenix or bust type of scenario here. Now, I could just sell these Wasps. The Wasps don't do anything, and they've done their job. Don't need to commit to Jump Drive, since I already got a deployment out of him over there, so we'll just take it like that. We've got the 5 Arclights, we got the range, we got the attack enhancement to make sure to one-shot the Mustangs in case he takes the defense enhancement, and just, you know, setting up a pretty conservative board here. Nothing too committal, just to wait and see what he does. Now, I was a bit worried about him taking the ball drop. I mean, I do have level 2 Phoenixes, so I don't have to worry too much, but this left side tower is a bit I mean, both towers are a bit exposed if you really wanted to take them, but so I end up using Missile just in case. Place a Typhoon in the middle. I'm not really going to commit 2 Typhoons on defense, but he or she should be able to tank the Arclight and clear some chaff. Arclight is unfortunately stuck on the Sabertooth, but Phoenix does help out to clear, and well, he has a board of Mustangs with range, and I have a board of Arclights with range, so I'm definitely favored on that end. Of course, I have 300 extra supply, well, 200 extra supply if you're comparing against the quick supply specialist. Another turn going to me. Pretty non-committal. Like, he's also not committing to anything right now. It seems like in these high MMR matches, you kind of just like wait for unit drops. I don't know. I mean, I'm perfectly fine waiting. I'm the defensive player. I'm trying to wait and see what you do. And I mean, I have Arclights, you have Mustang, so I'm going to wait for Kono to make a commitment here. Now, Missile Strike is one of those cards you can't really skip. It's so cheap, and he's in Mustang, so it's like the perfect time to take the card here. We both take it, of course. Now, I could Missile Strike his Phoenix, but if he clicks Defense Enhancement, there's a breakpoint where the Phoenixes will live, but of course, I'm more so targeting the Mustang here. Now, I sell out of my Stormcaller since there's not much use for it, at least on the current board state, and I end up committing further into the Phoenix. I was more so worried about the, well, of course, the Arclight flank, but mainly the Sabertooth that the Arclight was getting stuck on. And I'm honestly not too worried about Fortress Antier. I think a lot of people worry too much about the tech. The way I see it is, well, it's only 3 Phoenixes with range, and I'm committing to 300 in tech. And if he were to commit to Fortress Antier right now, he would be, well, committing to Fortress, paying for the unlock, and then the tech would cost 200 bucks, and then it would also make all his other techs more expensive. Bubble's already 500, and all the other good techs like range, fang production will make him more expensive. So if he wants to really tech into Fortresses, he's going to need at least 2 techs. So Fortress Antier basically costs 600, so it's very costly just to kill the Phoenixes. So, and I can just sell the Phoenixes and go Melter. So the way I see it, it's not that big a deal to bait Fortress Antier. And of course, the benefit of Phoenix range is it actually stays behind my Arclights, doesn't feed too much XP to the Mustangs, and it helps me quickly clear the Arclights that are remaining on the board. The Arclights are the only thing that really can clear crawlers. If you clear the Arclights fast enough, the crawlers will cause a big problem to the Mustang player, and as you can see, that's exactly what's happening here. He also invested into 2 shields just to protect his Missile Strike, so we are in a very good position here. Of course, I'm the only one investing in temp range, so it makes sense that the round goes to me. Now, quick cooldown seems like an interesting card since it'll make my spells come back faster, but also I can add a Tower Oil and maybe get 2 Tower Oils out of this game, depending on how long the match goes. So it seems like a pretty, like, fair pick here. Sell the Storms since they don't have much value on the current board state. Of course, like, looking back, it's good maybe to keep the Storms for the inevitable Giants he's going to play, but it's fine. Now, we're going for a Subterranean Crawler, which increases the HP while underground by 55%, which is the best tech to take into the Mustangs. Mustangs already can't clear normal crawlers, and they'll definitely not be able to clear crawlers if they are more tanky. Now, again, I'm just waiting to see what Kono's doing. Unit drop is coming round 7, so I don't really have to commit to anything just yet, since I have the upper hand here. Now, I buy Elite Recruits, 2 Arclights, and a Crawler, just to help with extra chaff clear. He's got a lot of Mustangs and Crawlers on the board, so 7 should be enough to take care of everything here. We got a Fortified Tower to level 3. Since that is the main side that he is focusing, I think, like, I just love tower fortifications against a push. It just makes a lot of the selling point of aggro, which is a tower debuff, and takes it away. And still also very efficient stats HP wise. Now, of course, I don't have any DPS on the board because I'm losing my Phoenixes, and Arclights aren't an efficient answer to Fortress, so it makes sense that I end up losing the right side here. Not losing by too much, and he showed his hand. He's paid for the unlock of the Fortress since he was behind in tempo and didn't want to die here. He even borrowed for it, so even though I will lose the round, I am in a really good position here econ-wise, and, well, I'm probably going to get an answer to his Fortress from the unit drop, so another efficiency on my end. Now, it's a pretty straightforward melting point pickup. Of course, Relic comes in to save the day, and this is the benefit of greeting for unit drops and not really committing to anything. You get some added efficiency from the drops here. Now, he has to unlock the Fortresses to counter my alleged Phoenix threat. So this ends up being really good for me. Now I place the melting point. Like, also the benefit of the melting point is it counters everything else in the unit drop, so whatever he takes, it won't matter. Mainly that high level rhino, that's usually a pain to deal with. I place the high level melting point on the opposite side of oil, since oil should carry me enough on the right side here is my thinking. I sell the high level phoenix since I baited the fortress response, and now it's just arc-light melter defense, fortified towers. I should be in a really good position here. His main chaff clear, while he does have a lot of arc lights and I guess the wraiths, his main chaff clear is the mustangs, and they're not that efficient into dealing with crawlers compared to the arc lights, so I should have the upper hand here. Now he is clicking loose formation on the crawlers, which should increase the time to kill of the arc lights. Yes, it does nerf the HP of the crawlers, but obviously into arc lights that doesn't matter. Now we are both borrowing for temp range, so we're looking to close out the game here, of course. Now the very unfortunate timing with this arc light over here, he is stuck on the fortress while the melter is stuck on crawlers, so that is something I definitely have to fix here. I probably have to missile so I can get some early locks. Of course, a loose formation is just doing so much for him here. Allows his mustangs to DPS and kill a lot of my core units. His fortress ends up killing my melter on the right side. But I am honestly not too worried here. It was mainly just the fact that even with like oil, I am still losing, which is a bit of a problem, but it was mainly the fact that loose formation did a lot, and also my arc light was locked into the fortress, so the melter wasn't able to connect until much later here. But these laser sight mustangs that he's picked up on round 2 is his best unit and is doing a lot of work here. But not taking too much damage here. I just have to solve the loose formation problem, and I should be fine. I honestly probably should have taken additional deploy. I mean, it's round 8. How many additional deploys am I really going to need anyway? So I just like auto skip, but it does allow me to get 4 deploys this turn if I really wanted to. And probably looking back, that's probably what I should have done, because I don't really need any more melters here. I really just need maybe more arc lights for chaff clear and some more chaff just to buy enough time, and missiling out all the crawlers is very important since they are loose, and this will assist with the arc lights getting early locks here. Of course, Kono, I believe, I forget how many borrows this is at, but I believe it's the 3rd. Could even be the 4th. No, I think it's the 3rd. Got level on the fortress. But again, teching into anything meaningful is very expensive with the anti-air barrage tech, and like committing further into forts into an overcommitted melter board might not be that smart. So he's really just hoping to spam chaff and push through like that. I'm buying again more arc lights. I believe I have like 9 arc lights on the board with more chaff. So hopefully this will be enough. I really didn't know what to do with money, so I leveled the tower to level 4 since this is the main side that goes down, right? Missile spam, again, very important when defending a push. The defender has the advantage of missiling out all your chaff just the way the positioning goes, so it's very important near the end to prioritize that at the beginning of your turn. I fixed the early lock scenario, but of course it's a level 2 fortress now, so it takes a little bit to go down. And his level 3 mustangs, level 4 mustangs are just like mowing everything down, and I'm a little bit stuck on the loose formation crawlers here. But things are definitely getting out of hand. Mustang Fortress is one of those late game comps that if you see it get online, you probably just get outscaled and lose, since Fortress Barrier scales very well, and Mustangs are like the best late game scaling unit in the game. Now, of course, like, it's not as threatening because, again, Fortress Anti-Air Bras just click, so he's behind in that aspect, but the Mustang is the main threat here. But not taking too much damage. And the unit reinforcements are here. Now, the Fire Badger drop looks insane, especially with the quick cooldown oil that I have, so this should be a pretty free turn on my end. I'll be able to burn all this chaff for minimal investment, and I will also have the underground threat and missile strike for him to deal with, so I think this is a pretty unlosable position here. Interesting, he goes for the Raiden with EMP, which, I mean, in theory, Raiden EMP beats Melters because, well, you EMP the range and you'll outrange the Melters, but he doesn't really have the DPS to follow it up with, at least on this side here. At least from the Raidens alone, so surprised he picked it up. Now I end up clicking Napalm on the Badgers, just to add a little bit more fire on the board. And since he has these like rows or columns or whatever of crawlers coming in, the napalm should get a lot of value here. And I am funneling all the chaff with these 2 packs as well, so should be enough here. Now he expects the oil burn scenario to happen, so he is mobile beaconing his Mustang away. Now unfortunately I actually oiled the middle, so he's running right into it here. Elite Marksman on the Arclights just for a little bit additional range. So I really don't see how I would be losing this here. Like, look at the value of the oiled napalm. Infinite loose crawlers are just dead. And he doesn't have that much Mustangs alive now. So the Melter should be able to tank and clean up the rest here. Even with the EMP, it doesn't matter too much, since all that's left is the Raidens. And this is a level 4 Melter with 142 HP, so there's no way this will be going down. Well, there you have it. That was, I would say, a pretty solid defense game. Very just, you're threatening the weak side with the Wasps, forcing them to buy a suboptimal early game unit into the Crawler Arclight board, and then waiting for unit drops and spamming chaff, and then waiting for the opponent to make a play here, and then of course utilizing the unit drops to counter whatever said play he has. And one benefit, of course, of playing defense is, well, spells are a lot stronger for you since you can oil on your side of the board and there's nothing he can really do about it. So that last turn was a bit of a slaughter just due to that fact alone, but hopefully lead to showcase an interesting defensive game. Thanks for watching.